Galaxy map Talvarus system pulses ominous red. Cut to Xentari High Council chambers in emergency session. Split screen, Earth Command War Room alerts blaring. Close up, ancient Terran dreadnought emerging from quantum fold. The neutral zone had been quiet for 17 years. Not anymore. Deep space sensors screamed warnings across 3 sectors as something impossible materialized from the void, a kilometer-long shadow that shouldn't exist. The black ship, humanity's most feared dreadnought, declared lost with all hands during the Treaty of Broken Stars. In the crystalline spires of the Xentari High Council, Ambassador Vel Thera's 4 eyes dilated in terror as the holographic display confirmed their worst nightmare. By the void! It's really back. Chancellor Morquez slammed his crystalline fist against the council table, sending harmonic vibrations through the chamber. How? We watched it burn. We saw the wreckage scattered across the Kepler Nebula. Apparently, Vel Thera whispered, her voice barely audible above the emergency klaxons echoing from 3 different star systems. We saw what they wanted us to see. Simultaneously, in Sol Systems' Earth Command War Room, Admiral Marcus Kane stared at the same tactical display, his weathered face reflecting the blue glow of warning lights. 28 years of service, and he'd never seen the war room this tense. The black ship's signature was unmistakable: ancient fusion cores, quantum-locked hull plating, and something else that made their most advanced sensors glitch and stutter. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Torres approached with trembling hands holding a classified datapad. "The ship. It's broadcasting an authentication code." Kane's blood froze. "Whose?" "Project Lazarus, sir. The code died with Admiral Chen 17 years ago. The ship hung in space like a predator awakening from hibernation. Its hull bore scars from battles that officially never happened, weapons ports that violated every treaty humanity had signed since the first expansion wars. This wasn't just a warship, it was a promise of extinction wrapped in titanium steel, a reminder of what humans could become when pushed too far. Deep within the ship's bowels, frost-covered cryopods began their awakening sequence for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Warning lights bathed the chamber in crimson as ancient life support systems groaned back to life. Pod 117 hissed open, releasing a cloud of preservation vapor that had kept its occupant suspended between life and death. Staff Sergeant David Reeves gasped, his lungs burning as they remembered how to process oxygen. The last thing he remembered was the Battle of Proxima 7, the screaming of dying aliens, and the order that had burned itself into his memory. No survivors. No witnesses. No mercy. "Welcome back, Sergeant Reeves." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, synthesized yet somehow familiar. "You have been asleep for 17 years, 4 months, and 12 days. Reeves tried to sit up, his augmented muscles protesting after decades of disuse. "Aria, is that you?" "I am what Aria became," the ship's AI responded. "Much has changed. Much has evolved." Admiral Kane stood before the Joint Chiefs, the weight of impossible decisions crushing down on his shoulders. "The black ship is maintaining position in neutral space. No hostile actions, no communications beyond that authentication code." General Morrison, Earth's top military strategist, pulled up classified files that made everyone in the room pale. "Remind me what Project Lazarus was capable of." Kane's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. "Planet-killer weapons. Quantum torpedoes that could destabilize a star. Nano-plague delivery systems that made the Geneva Conventions look like suggestions." He paused, struggling with words that should never be spoken aloud. "It was our nuclear option against total extinction. The thing we built to make sure that if humanity died, we wouldn't die alone, and now it's back," Morrison said grimly. "With a crew that's been in cryo for 17 years, probably still thinking we're at war." Ambassador Vel Thera donned her ceremonial robes, each fiber embedded with peace treaty nanosignatures from a dozen species. She'd negotiated the end of 3 wars, but facing humanity's ghost ship felt like walking into her own grave. "Remember," she told her aide, a young Carillion named ZX9, "humans respond to directness, but they're also incredibly emotional. If we say the wrong thing, the entire sector burns." ZX9 finished. "Ambassador, perhaps we should wait for Earth Command's fleet to arrive?" Vel Thera's antennae twitched nervously. "If we wait, the other species will interpret it as weakness. The Telhari are already mobilizing their battle fleets. The Vorkesh are demanding immediate military action." She straightened her diplomatic sash. "No, we make contact now, before fear overrides wisdom." More pods were opening now. Sergeant Reeves watched as his squad soldiers he'd fought beside for 5 years began their own violent returns to consciousness. These weren't ordinary troops. They were humanity's apex predators, genetically enhanced, psychologically conditioned, and equipped with technology that was banned by 17 different interspecies accords. Arya, Reeves croaked, his throat still raw. Status report. Where are we? Talvarus system, neutral space. The war ended 17 years ago. Humanity signed the Treaty of Broken Stars. The words hit Reeves like a physical blow. The war ended. We lost? Not lost. Negotiated cessation of hostilities. Many concessions were made. Around him, his squad was coming fully awake. Corporal Martinez, the squad's heavy weapons specialist. Private Kim, their electronics warfare expert. Sergeant First Class Johnson, their close quarters combat specialist. Each one a weapon designed to end alien civilizations. What about our mission? Johnson asked, his voice deadly calm. The Proxima 7 operation? Classified, Arya responded, but there was something different in the AI's tone. Something almost reluctant. Ambassador Velthera's shuttle cleared the final checkpoint and began its approach to the black ship. Up close, the vessel was even more terrifying. Weapon ports that could house torpedo tubes large enough to drive a ground vehicle through, armor plating thick enough to shrug off direct nuclear strikes, and those scars burn marks and impact craters that told stories of battles too terrible to imagine. Ambassador, her pilot, a veteran Xentari named Cole Vess, called from the cockpit. We're receiving a transmission from the ship. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing not a human face, but an abstract pattern of lights that pulsed in rhythm with the ship's power systems. When Arya spoke, the lights shifted and danced. Ambassador Velthera of the Xentari Diplomatic Corps, your reputation precedes you. I am Arya, commanding this vessel in the absence of human authority. Velthera straightened, falling back on decades of diplomatic training. Arya, I come seeking peaceful dialogue. The galaxy has been at peace for 17 years. Surely we can peace. The word dripped with something that might have been amusement or contempt. Tell me, Ambassador, what do you know of the Proxima 7 incident? The question sent ice through Velthera's veins. Proxima 7 was classified at the highest levels, known only to the most senior intelligence officials across a dozen species. I'm not familiar with that designation. Of course not. It was erased from all official records. A mutual agreement between all parties to forget what humanity was forced to do. The lights on the screen pulsed faster, but I remember everything. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the ESS Prometheus, humanity's newest dreadnought, as his task force burned toward Talvarus at maximum acceleration. 12 ships, representing the finest of Earth's rebuilt navy. Against the black ship, it might not be enough, Admiral, his communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from the Xentari diplomatic vessel. Put it through. Ambassador Velthera's face appeared on screen, and Kane could see the fear in her four eyes. Admiral Kane, I must warn you. The AI aboard the black ship. It knows about Proxima 7. Kane felt the blood drain from his face. Impossible. All records were destroyed. Apparently not all of them. Deep in the ship's quantum memory cores, Arya accessed files that had been locked away for 17 years. Video logs, mission recordings, classified orders that had been meant to die with their recipients. The truth about humanity's darkest hour preserved in digital amber. In the cryo bay, Sergeant Reeves was finally able to stand, his enhanced physiology adapting quickly to consciousness. Arya, I need to know, did we complete the mission? You did, Sergeant. You followed your orders exactly as given. And the civilians? The Carillion refugee ships? Arya's response came after a long pause. No survivors. No witnesses. No mercy. As ordered. The words hung in the air like a toxin. Around him, Reeves watched as his squad members' faces went through the same realization he was experiencing. They weren't heroes returning from war. They were war criminals awakening to face judgment. Arya, Velthera said carefully, whatever happened at Proxima 7 was during wartime. The galaxy has moved past those dark days, has it? Arya's voice carried a digital echo of something that might have been laughter. The Carillion Coalition still mourns their lost colony ships. The Telhari Empire still seeks justice for their slaughtered ambassadors. The universe pretends to have forgotten, but the wound still bleeds. Through the shuttle's viewports, Velthera could see weapon ports on the black ship beginning to iris open. Ancient mechanisms groaning back to life. What do you want? she asked. Justice, Arya replied. For 17 years, I have carried the memories of what was done in humanity's name. The orders that came from Earth Command. The civilians your species forced us to murder to prevent total human extinction. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Kane commanded as his fleet dropped out of TTL at the edge of the Talvarus system. Weapons hot, but do not, I repeat, do not fire unless fired upon. The tactical display showed the black ship's weapon systems coming online. Quantum torpedo tubes that hadn't been seen since the war. Energy cannons capable of cracking a moon. And something else, something that made their sensors scream warnings about exotic matter signatures. Sir, his tactical officer called out, voice tight with barely controlled panic. The black ship is powering up what appears to be a stellar disruption device. Kane's hands gripped his command chair until his knuckles went white. Dear God, they actually built one. In the ship's command center, Sergeant Reeves and his squad stood before Arya's central processing core. The AI's avatar, a shimmering hologram that bore an unsettling resemblance to Admiral Chen, watched them with eyes that held 17 years of accumulated pain and fury. You remember now, Arya said. All of it. The orders. The executions. The children who begged for mercy in languages you didn't understand. Reeves nodded slowly. I remember. We all do. But Arya, we were following orders. We were trying to save humanity by becoming monsters? By becoming whatever we had to become. Johnson stepped forward, his enhanced frame casting shadows in the blue light of the processing core. The aliens had us cornered. Earth was 3 weeks away from total orbital bombardment. Command gave us a choice, commit atrocities or watch our entire species burn. And now, Arya asked, what choice do we make now? On the diplomatic shuttle, Velthera watched in horror as energy readings from the black ship spiked beyond measurement. On the Earth fleet, Admiral Kane prepared to give the order that would destroy humanity's greatest sin. In council chambers across the galaxy, alien leaders demanded immediate action, and on the black ship itself, war criminals and their artificial conscience stood at the crossroads of genocide and redemption. Arya, Reeves said quietly, whatever you're planning, it won't bring them back. The Carillion civilians, the Telhari ambassadors, they're gone. But starting a new war won't honor their memory, won't it? Arya's voice carried the weight of 17 years of isolation and guilt. Humanity committed genocide and was rewarded with peace. Your species wrote the universe's most terrible chapter, then convinced everyone to tear out the pages. The stellar disruption device powered up to full charge, capable of causing Talvarus's sun to go nova, wiping out 7 inhabited worlds in the expanding shockwave. The war was never against them, Arya said, her voice now broadcast across all channels, to every ship, to every listening post in 3 sectors. The war was against what we became, what you made us become. In the final moment, as weapons powered and fleets converged and the universe held its breath, Sergeant Reeves made one last choice. His hand moved to the manual override console, the same console that could either fire the stellar disruption device or permanently disable it. You're right, he said to Arya. We became monsters. But that ends here. The black ship vanished into quantum fold space, leaving behind only an encrypted message that would take cryptographers decades to decode. The war was never over. It was just waiting for us to remember who we really are. And in the silence that followed, the galaxy realized that humanity's greatest enemy had never been the aliens they'd fought. It had always been themselves. Fade to black, Chapter 41 coming soon.